Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the episode 2 of Clay Dialogue Season 2. The host for this session is none other than Manish Porwal, Managing Director, Alchemist. He was rated the top 10 names by Economic Times in media industry. Welcome, Manish.
Thank you, Rishi. Thank you so much. I hope you all can see me. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the episode 2 of Clay Dialogues Season 2, presented by Archivist Marketing Solutions and its real estate division, Clay. My name, as you know, is Manish Porwal, and I'm the Managing Director of Alchemist and Clay, and therefore the de facto host for this e-talk show series where we talk to the icons of the real estate industry. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I do know that I have a face for radio, but my job is thankfully fixed. It's permanent due to my position in the company. And I would like you all to now get fixed to your screens for the next 75 minutes or so as we talk to some very different people today than the typical real estate skin that we see normally. But before that, some important things. Ladies and gentlemen, we do know that the country, is grappling with something extremely serious. We know that there are bigger issues to tackle than talk shows or business. But we also know that we need to be ready when, thanks to the effort of the medical practitioners and the administration, things get back. We need resurgence. Through Clay Dialogues, we try and give you the best experiences can teach while being in the comfort and safety of your own home. We are glad, even at such tough times, all of you, barring nobody, welcome back the show and called it a healthy distraction from what seems like negative news all over. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said this before and I say this again, probably till the end of the show I will. Our industry is about buildings, infra, housing, business, retail. But more importantly, it's about hope, the most required feeling in the current situation. We are the ones who build the hospitals, airports, stores, warehouses, and other infra required to keep the country and the community running. Real estate is the barometer of how the country is doing economically. So let's stay at home and take utmost care to stay negative and, of course, stay positive by enhancing our knowledge and understanding, motivation, as some of these stalwarts do speak to us. So please do tune in to us each Saturday at about 4 p.m. Give us around 75 minutes, and we offer learning from lives and times of the great stalwarts who talk on this show from their heart. And that's the big difference. If you happen to miss the episode, of course, you can catch it on the archives of the Facebook page. But we would surely recommend be live watching, as there's nothing close to that, and you can ask questions directly too, all adding to the live experience. In fact, in a while, my colleagues are going to throw up numbers where you can send WhatsApps and ask questions to our guests. I am particularly proud today to announce our next guest, who also happens to be a business associate for some time. Let's play the videos, team. Can we? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of this fantastic and progressive big industry, please welcome the young Turk, a first gen, the well-read and professional turned developer, Mr. Kalpesh Mehta, founder and chief of Tribeca, the man who brought Trump Towers to India and who understands luxury firsthand and in his skin. Kalpesh, welcome to Clay Dialogues 2. Finally, we get you here. Hope you're as happy as we are to have you here.
Manish, thank you for having me. I want to second the message you gave out earlier, which is I just hope everyone is staying safe, and I pray and I remain hopeful that this crisis that we face as a country and as a community, we get out of it soon. So I second you on that, Manish. I also want to thank everybody in the audience, especially friends, family, a lot of my colleagues, business partners who've all made the time to join us. And Manish, thank you for having me. Pleasure being here.
Thank you so much, Kalpesh. And as we go forward, Kalpesh, I cannot help but put that disclaimer to the audience. I recall, the first time we met, a little over about 2.5 years ago or 2.5 years, yeah, around that much. And they were not the most exciting conditions to meet. Do you recall, Kalpesh?
Yeah, you can you guys hear me?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. As I like to say, I got you in dowry, Manish. It wasn't my choice.
Yes.
Mutual friends of ours, people I love and respect. I like having things my own way, kind of. And you were kind of pushed down my throat. But in my defense,
I quite do.
in my defense, it took me no more than 2 days to sort of get used to you first, and then start liking you. And now now I love you.
I thought it was hiring at the first sight, but it's okay. I take the 2 days also as a compliment. Fantastic. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we do work together, and I'm glad that we do. And it's amazing to work with Kalpesh. And as the story unfolds, we'll talk a little more of that. Okay, so let's begin, Kalpesh. And you know that we have these 5 segments that we will talk to you in. The 5 segments are pretty clear for the audience. Let's play them again. The first one that we'll have is what is called shop talk. That's where we get all serious, try and behave as if the world is all on our shoulders, etc., etc. And after that, we have something called you talk, where we get deeper into Kalpesh's life. And after that, we have a section which is about friends and family. The fourth section actually belongs to the audiences, where you can ask the questions. You can do even now, and my colleagues will help post those questions on to Kalpesh when the time comes. And the last one, the most exciting round for me for sure, because that's where it's the most interesting, is the rapid conversations. Yeah, conversations that happen. So you ready, Kalpesh?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. And of course, somewhere in the middle, as we said, and out of the norm, we told people because they should know, we'll be joined by a special guest and your pal, Donald Trump Jr. And that will be amazing to have him over. It's quite early for him, so I'm assuming that he's getting ready for it. Okay, let's begin the first segment of the show, Shop Talk. Kalpesh, you ready? Okay. Uh, Kalpesh, you're one of the few real estate companies which have a play across markets in several zones. I mean, I talk to a lot of captains out there, but they're big in a city or they're big in a zone and so on and so forth. You're big in NCR, Mumbai, Pune, Kolkata, and other cities. And let's begin with how's business situation today. Is it very different by sectors, zones, or cities, or is it an overall equitable challenge across? Is it kind of how different is it? Is it challenging times? Is it good times to build and acquire? Where is it?
Manish, there are many sort of layers to this this response.
Agree.
We were just about recovering from the previous pandemic, and things were sort of there were green shoots that you could see in some cities, especially in Maharashtra. You could see recoveries and strong recoveries, and we've been hit by the second wave again. So nobody has a crystal ball, but I remain confident and hopeful that the recovery that we started seeing again first in Maharashtra, which took off really strongly, and the other markets were beginning to see the same, the starts of the same recovery. I remain hopeful that once we're past the worst of what's currently going on, what lies ahead of us is a pretty decent bull run in the sector in India, in the real estate sector in India.
But do you see different zones recovering at different points in time, or is it more or less?
Of course, look, of course, we classify it as real estate, but it's Mumbai real estate and Gurgaon real estate, it's all different. And just like everything has waves, including this damn pandemic, the cycles are different for the sector across across different cities. So it just it could be off by a quarter or two.
Right. Okay.
But I think so. But in a nutshell, I think we're poised nationwide for a very strong recovery, and might I add, a bull run in the real estate sector. Once we get past this crisis.
Okay. So, Kalpesh, while I'll repeat the next question, probably when Don comes back. But I want to ask this question independently to you first. So, what's the story behind Trump choosing Tribeca when you had so little experience in the company at that point in time when you came together? What was it? Your charms? Was it your being learned? What was it?
As they say in life, right place, right time. I don't think I was any great shakes, but it just so happened that the Trumps were looking at India for a long time, and they hadn't been able to make any headway. And I happened to be starting my new business, which was Tribeca, back in 2012. And the Trump partnership, by the way, was supposed to be a side business for me. It was even supposed to be my main thing, and we'll talk about that more later. But they saw. I've spent time in New York. We all have gone to the same sort of business, school in the U.S. So there were a lot of common connections. So that helped the chemistry in the beginning. They saw in me somebody who lived in New York, works in India now. Is trying to build something, and they took a bet. And most of my life and most of my career has been about people taking bets on me and people taking calls on me, and that's what kind of has led to where I am today. So you call it right place, right time. Having the right people put trust in you at the right time. Whatever you call it. I'm just thankful for all of it.
Right time, right place, right people. Get that completely, Kalpesh. Now, Kalpesh, another question is about a very simple fact that Tribeca is fast becoming the Airbnb or the Uber of real estate, right? In fact, you're now called the turnaround artist, if I put it that way. What is the thought behind this asset-light model idea of Tribeca, and how far it does really work? Let's leave the PR aside of it. Let's genuinely talk about the model and how does it work. Is it and was it speed, or was it sticking to your core competency, or opportunism, or what was it that goes behind this?
That's a very good question. I think it's okay. I think it's a combination of. Let me just start back, right? I started my career with real estate finance and private equity, but really at my core, what excited me was design and product. And even when I was a kid, I dreamt of sort of building beautiful tall buildings and nice spaces. Like I come from a family of architects.
Right.
So when I set about when I got bit by the sort of so-called entrepreneurial bug, I tried to figure out how to become a real estate developer. And I didn't know it then, but you typically required capital, you required land, a lot of land, or you required a big corporate brand. You needed two of the three to become a developer. I didn't have any, so I said, why don't I be asset light? I'll partner with people who have the land, who don't necessarily have the product skill sets, and I'll be the great sort of developer who turns things around. And I got slapped around for a long time, because the standard question I got asked was, we like you, you're a smart guy, but you haven't done anything before. You haven't built any building. You have no money. You have no experience. You may have been a banker, but you've got nothing you've done nothing in real estate development. And I think that's again where sort of right place, right time, serendipity, whatever you call it. The Trump partnership came in, but I'm kind of jumping all over. Product is always what I wanted to do. Real estate is a complex business. Land approvals, etc., are such a big part of it. It's not something I'm good at. I don't think I'll acquire those skills in this lifetime. I love product. I love sales. I love marketing. I love design. I love building. That's what I would want to focus on. And through a very fortunate set of coincidences, I was able to sort of fashion together a company that allows me to do that. And only because of that, I can operate in multiple cities. Because despite real estate being a local subject, I have the benefit of partnering with very strong local partners who understand the local stuff, and I can just focus on things that I'm good at and that I love.
So talking of strong local partners, what was supposed to be a surprise, but unfortunately 5 minutes ago it didn't turn out to be, because his photograph is visible. But I think I'm very glad to bring to this discussion somebody who's a friend to you, who's a partner to you, Mr. Harshvardhan Patodia, the MD at Unimark Group, and the National President for Credai. Sir, may I welcome you on screen, please?
Good afternoon, Manish. Hi,
Good
Kalpesh.
afternoon. How are you? How are
Hi,
you?
Arshi.
Great, great.
So, Harji,
Yeah,
please go on.
first and foremost, I would like to uh, give a message to my viewers that I hope all of you are and their families are doing well, and all of you are safe. And I pray to the Almighty that we all emerge out of this pandemic by winning the war against COVID. So, Manish, now you can shoot.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of all the audience, thank you so much. And yes, we are all in the same boat. I think trying to figure out how to manage this national crisis. And thank you for joining. I must also tell you the audience that I'm also announcing Sir Mr. Patodia as our guest coming forward later in one of the episodes. But right now he's been very kind to agree to come and speak for Kalpesh. So I'm so glad to see you here, sir. My first question to you is very simple, and it's clearly on Kalpesh. So, what's the difference? You're such a large company. You've created such a large empire. You would have dealt with so many partners. So, what's the difference between dealing with Kalpesh or any other partner in that sense? Is there a visible difference? Besides
Manish,
terms?
Manish,
Yes.
being a seasoned developer, I don't think we'll fall for charm so easily.
Correct.
So,
And sir, we Maharis, we don't fall for charm.
Yeah. So Kalpesh and I met for the first time in the middle of 2016,
right,
when we were discussing the development of Trump Tower in Calcutta.
Gee.
And in 2 meetings, we sealed the transaction and we hit it off very well. So what I found in him was he had a very fresh approach to luxury and how luxury being marketed. And with product design and positioning, what was his detailing also, very big strength. These, I thought, I found someone who was thinking differently. And in spite of a very long experience in the real estate business, I think let's give a fresh approach a try. And his approach also was very customer centric and futuristic. So these were the few things which I found in him. And I thoroughly enjoyed working with him amongst several other business partners and collaborators during my 30 years of real estate business. We've had a very comfortable relationship. And in spite of our passing through very difficult and challenging times like the demonetization, now the pandemic, we have agreed and disagreed on many things, but I still enjoy working with him.
Very kind of you, sir. I have another question to ask. So, of course, there are some norms written, and there must be some partnership norms that you would have kind of co-created along with Tribeca. Are there instances where it was beyond the norms that you worked and, let's say, on Trump Task Kolkata? Is there something that Tribeca has been able to build or bring to the table more than just the agreed norms? Is that something that Kalpesh does to you?
Manish, I think both have added value to each other. Kalpesh has bought a lot of things which are not in the norms of the normal agreement. And there were some initial disagreements on several fronts in terms of sizes, pricing, vastu, sensitivities of the local market. But I think he and the Trump team accepted them by diving deep into the merit of each case and our market understanding. So this flexible approach was very collaborative, very productive, and very important for a enduring partnership. And also, there were a lot of detailing and design elements which Kalpesh brought beyond the norms of the agreement. And even in terms of different situations in the market, we have taken different flexible approaches and different approaches to marketing, which was also very good for the project success. And I think this is a case study, one of the most successful luxury market product in real estate in the eastern part of the country, and maybe the entire country, in terms of the traction of sales which we achieved in the first few months of our launch.
Perfect. In fact, my last question to you, I know I've been holding you back for a while, and you've been extremely busy. One last question. Harji, in a market which is so price sensitive, both of you, Kalpesh and you, have kind of created a product which is a luxury product, and it's not a small product; it's a large product. How do you both propose selling it, and is it a very long term kind of an idea, or is it something that is going as per what you guys had thought? Where is it going?
Manish, I thought, what we really designed the product in terms of the ticket size, pricing, size of the apartment. It's a very, very affordable luxury. And probably it's one of the cheapest Trump Tower apartment which anybody could buy in the planet.
Okay.
So this was an offering which with Kalpesh and our team worked out together, and we've attained success. So it is
Yes.
not something long term. I think it is a something which we wanted to market, sell, create a landmark, create an iconic luxury product in the city of Calcutta as one of the best places to live in, plus create a true landmark in the city and give a gift to the city of joy.
Kalpesh, any return favors to the
You know,
gentleman who we all look up to?
Harshji has been extremely kind, and this is precisely what I talked about. It is only through the goodwill and the trust of partners like Harshji that we are able to do what we enjoy most and do what we're best at. We did not understand Calcutta. We did not understand the local market. We brought something to the table, and Harshji, I think, brought a lot more to the table, and we were able to partner together to create what I think is something special, and just has been a fun ride. And as a bonus along the way, Harshi has become, not just a friend, but a great mentor, a guide, of mine. And I'm just thankful for the experience. So thank you, Harshi, if you're still there.
I'm there,
I'm truly
Kalpesh.
blessed.
Right there.
I'm
Thank you.
truly,
Thank you,
truly blessed.
Manish, let me tell you, the relationship which I Kalpesh and share is now kind of unique, and it's gone much beyond our project. So I leave it to that now.
Wonderful. Sir, in fact, thank you so much for making this brief but very powerful appearance. And we'll see you soon in your own show 2 weeks from now. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Thank you, Manish.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Harshit.
Harshi.
Thank you so much. Okay, we keep going on. And Kalpesh, my next question to you, and we're waiting for Don in the next 3 minutes to come on, hopefully, unless he's gone fishing without telling us.
No, he'll join. I'm sure he'll join.
Okay. So, Kalpesh, what was the thought process in naming the company Tribeca? Where did that word come from?
In a nutshell, I didn't have as good a creative company as you did. I lived, so there's a neighborhood in New York called Tribeca, and I lived there. And the
Okay.
legal entity was named Tribeca. And I had hired a creative agency not as good as yours to come up with a brand new name for the company. And everything they came up with, I hated, and it truly was terrible. And they came back finally and said, Tribeca's kind of good. You are from New York, and Trump's kind of from New York. Why don't you stick with Tribeca? And that kind of stuck. And I love it because I live there. I love that neighborhood. But really, no rocket science, no great sort of thought behind why. It just happened to be so.
So New York to India and $0. Fantastic. Lovely name at that. A lot of people have kind of said the only question that I think the frustration you go through is a lot of people call it Tribeca.
Tribeca,
Correct.
including you, Manish, for
Yes,
a long
you
time
corrected
ago.
me,
Yes.
and now I'm convert. So that's all right. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a show where we throw jabs at you, not the other way around. Okay, let's go, Kalpesh. Kalpesh, one question which is kind of bothered a lot of people. A lot of people have asked me. And
I think we've got Don here. You may want to.
Sorry?
I think we've got Don here, so you may
Don
want
is
to.
here. Fantastic. Don, can we? Hello, how are you doing?
Great. Yourself?
Very good. Thank you so much, Don, for having joined us. And I really appreciate this. I know you're on a vacation and you took time out for your friend and for the show to come on.
It's my pleasure.
Absolutely our pleasure as well. A lot of people are waiting to see you right now as we speak, and they will. Don, good morning. And I think it's quite early out there, isn't it?
It is, and I had some travel difficulties, so I got in about 3:30 a.m. and I'm up at about 6:30 to talk with my friend Kalpesh. So that's how good the relationship is.
Fantastic. Absolutely. So Kalpesh, you did to Don what I do to you. So you can't complain to me now anymore. Okay. So Don, thank you for coming. And while I have a lot of questions to ask you today about Kalpesh, but there are some larger questions in mind which I need to ask you first, and then we'll go on to our favorite man, Kalpesh. Don, a lot is happening in the world today. How do you comprehend today's time for your company and real estate industry at large, overall in the world?
Well, listen, I think real estate in and of itself is going to be very interesting, depending on the asset class that you have. I've noticed, me, I'm one of those guys. I get out in the cities on the weekends.
Right.
Turns out all those people that didn't used to do that are now really interested in doing that. They're interested in having secondary type housing, somewhere with a little bit more space. The last year has shown people that maybe there's a greater appreciation for that. So what I've seen, no one wants to build anything. Everyone wants a turnkey option to escape from the cities. I think the other dynamic shift in real estate that's going to be rather interesting is what happens to sort of office space. I think people have seen, you're able to function outside of the office. You're able to function remotely more effectively. I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm not saying there's a trade-off in terms of productivity, but I imagine that will also get caught up. But this was a dynamic shift, made us learn we could probably do things differently. So I think, from a commercial standpoint, I think there could be some interesting plays in that. I see it with my friends who work at major law firms, and they're working from home. Many of them are never going back full time. They've discovered that they can do that. In some cases, the companies are saying, fine, I can pay you 80% of what you are making for you to stay home, probably getting, let's call it 90% of the productivity out, but now you don't have to spend $150 a foot times 50,000 square feet in terms of real estate. You can have a 10,000 square foot office, a great conference room to close deals and the final things, some places and workspaces for people to come in, do the work once or twice a week, but a daily basis. I think there's a dynamic shift there as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I mean, the wave has just begun, but I've definitely seen it from a commercial standpoint. People are willing to take a discount to not have to commute. They're getting more effective at working remotely, and I do think there's going to be a fundamental shift there in time.
So Don, is it the new normal, or is it shifting towards the new normal and going further from here?
Yeah, listen, I don't think what we've experienced right now is the new normal. I think there's probably a medium in between, but I think we've started to see the actual shift. I think that shift is happening before our very eyes. I think we all know people, again, they may not necessarily be paranoid about what's going on, but they've said, hey, I can do it this way, and I'll take a discount, or I'll to not have to spend 90 minutes, 2 hours a day commuting in and out of a major city if I can work from home. I think you're going to see a fundamental shift in the way housing is built. There's going to be a lot more sort of space and technology dedicated to home offices and remote work. And I just think, we're just starting to see it, but I think this was sort of the catalyst to get all the minds working on, hey, wait a minute. Just because we've been doing it like this for 100 years doesn't mean it's going to stay that way.
Got that. In fact, Don, let's go closer to India. I mean, I'm sure you have a view on this. And how do you see the Indian real estate landscape? Do you see it very different from when you had seen it last when you had come here?
Well, listen, last when I had gone there, you're sort of in the beginning of some of the difficulties in the market. I think obviously, COVID threw things into, a special bit of a loop. That said, I still see a lot of potential coming out of that. I think right now, obviously, what's going on right now over there is scary in terms of the virus and everything. It's, what I've read, and again, I'm not seeing it firsthand, but what I've read and what I've known from either Kalpesh or it's very real. It's very serious, but I know the people there, they're very resilient, and, they'll get through it. And when they do, though, I still think there will also be, an evolution in some of that real estate. I mean, I think Kalpesh saw when we started speaking. Now,
Right.
I hate to date ourselves, but well over a decade ago, probably more than that now, Kalpesh. When we started speaking, India hadn't necessarily caught up to the rest of the world. The notion of luxury didn't exist, meaning people sold luxury. They said things were luxury, but when you went there, you said this isn't luxury. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense being in the market and being on the side of creating that luxury experience that I do. I do know a lot of people call premium as luxury, and that's not
correct. So it was a little bit better than the other stuff, but it was nowhere near luxury relative to, you know, the top real estate markets in the world, right? Whether it was, you know, New York, London, Tokyo, whatever it was, right? It was a different kind of product. I think, you know, Kalpesh, a big part of the thesis that we had starting to work together was, you know, bringing that level of quality to India, not just sort of, and we've seen this as well, just sort of slap a brand on something, don't change actually anything with the real estate, but the brand, the marketplace there is smart. It's very smart. They, you know, they're world travelers. They've been all over the place. They've seen what actual luxury is, and there was sort of a starved customer base. There was a demand and a desire for that in their backyards, and I think that's how Kalpesh and I really, you know, started working together on the deals that we've done. And I think it was a fundamental shift in the marketplace.
I agree. In fact, Don, Kalpesh is one of the people who understands luxury firsthand, and that's why I think it was a great partnership that's kind of blooming even now. But before I move on to Kalpesh, there's one last question I have, and that's a very small and a short one for you. Which other real estate icons in the world, and you can't name your dad right now, do you look up to?
I didn't know there were any others. I didn't realize that.
That is so Trump.
I thought there was all you. Wait a minute, Kalpesh, you're telling me there's people that do real estate? I thought Donald Trump invented real estate.
When he's wrong question, wrong guy.
I thought it was the right question in a wrong moment, but it's all right. That's all right. Okay, I'll move on to Kalpesh and you, Don, and ask some things that I'm very curious to know. The last time when we all three had met, I didn't get the time to do that, and we were just kind of, you know, finishing off an event. But moving to KM and you, both of you are Wharton alumni. I mean, you did your bachelor's there, KM did his MBA, but different years. So is this some alumni bonding or something? Or was it some other business chemistry that came together?
I think it was more other business chemistry. What was sort of interesting about, you know, the Wharton undergrad versus the MBA scenario, you know, the undergrads, we all, in many cases, were in the same classes as the MBAs and the doctoral students. And at Wharton, it's a little, I don't know if it's changed since, but back at Wharton when we were there 20 years ago, it wasn't like what you see today, which is once you get into the school, they just give you an A. There's no, it doesn't matter. Everyone, when I was there, everyone was on a curve. Right. And so if you weren't in, like, it was something crazy. Like if you weren't in the top, you know, 10% of the class, you started at like a C and below. And so it was always awkward when, you know, I was this lowly undergrad. I'm sitting there at 19 years old and I'm in, you know, corporate finance with someone who has worked at Goldman Sachs for 5 years and was getting their MBA and we're trying to do spreadsheets. I did not think that was fair. So, you know, but unlike today where the snowflake would have come out and we would have been outraged and protest, we just worked harder. And so I think there was always a little bit of resentment from the MBAs because they came in with, you know, let's just say corporate finance, even at Wharton for the MBAs was something they'd been doing pretty extensively for the last 5 years. So, I was learning algebra 5 years prior. It was a little bit different.
Did you and Kalpesh fight over it or did you bond over that? Or
no, we really met each other after the fact. Yeah, so we met through looking at deals and you know, Kalpesh. So you know, my history of looking at India, early 2000s, I was sort of bullish on the notion of going into India, and so people always reach out to our office, and so you know, someone would present me this incredible package and the credentials and everything, and even if you did some vetting, it was like, wow, you know, Harvard graduate, this, he owns the biggest. You know, what I always heard, you know, it's the best piece of land in Mumbai. It's by far the best piece of land in Mumbai. You must come see it. And so you go back and forth. It's like, okay, then you get to Mumbai. Well, where's your land? Well, it's not really my land. It's like, what? Well, is it your family's? No, it's not really my family's land. Is it your, you know, well, it turns out it's a friend of a friend's of a friend. Well, this guy walks his dog and, you know, that guy's brother is my friend, and that's why we're here. But now that you're here in India, let's talk business. And I'm sitting there like, whoa. I mean, it was a, you know, a little bit of the no, yes. It was difficult to come in as an outsider. So what you thought was, you know, even relatively decent diligence, you realize everyone was so entrepreneur. They just, whatever they could do to get in the door, they'd do. And so Kalpesh was one of the first guys I met. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, this guy is not, he's trained like me with the wart thing, but like he thought like, and so we hit it off right there. And he really helped, me get through and navigate those waters and meet the people that we've, end up making incredible partnerships, obviously, including himself as, as number one in that case. And so it started off a little bit differently than college. But let's just say we were able to work with the resentment I may have had towards some of the MBA students as a Wharton undergrad.
So the site that he took you to, I mean, just asking that. So people have normally love at first sight. Did you have business at first sight? Was it that way?
Yeah, well, we had looked at a deal together, and he was actually working for someone. At the time, he was working for another developer. But it was sort of interesting. I mean, he was so honest and candid with me about what was and what wasn't. No, you don't want to do that for this way. I was like, wait a minute, that would have been better for you. And so, the relationship started as one of trust when he was really working for someone else. And obviously, being the entrepreneur that he is,
Right.
immediately when he jumped, from that to start doing the things on his own, that was when he said, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. Are you on board? Would you?" And I was like 100%. He goes, like, I'm just starting out on I'm starting from scratch here. Like, I don't have necessarily the organization even formed. I don't have, and I was like, yeah, I get it. I'm investing in you. That's where I'm putting, my trust. That's where we're putting our brand. Go have at it. And he's done an incredible job.
Lovely. So that's a lot of inspiration to a lot of people, I'm sure, listening in, tuned in today, that you don't have to have everything to impress somebody as big as Donald Trump Jr. So that's fantastic. Don, another question, and that's a question which I'll ask both of you. What is that one quality Kalpesh possesses that you wish you had, Don?
Ooh. Wow. I'm gonna have to think
My
about
good
this
looks.
because
My good looks
like,
has to be the answer. Don. It's got to be my looks. Come on.
Well, I was gonna say the beard, Kalpesh. I mean, I'm not sure that I have one. I don't know if it's as good as yours. I think I may have started growing in my. I don't know who went first, but I may be mimicking the beard.
Gentlemen, have I just fractured a great relationship?
I think we've gone through worse. I think we'll be fine.
Okay, Kalpesh, your turn now. What's that one thing that Don has which you wish all the time you had?
Look, before I answer that, let me just sort of,
besides various other things.
Before I answer that, let me just put some context onto things, right? The first deal that Don talked about so graciously, you have no idea how bad it blew up. It blew up. Okay. Here was a Wharton guy who said, Don, I got this piece deal. I was the guy. And he did the deal. And that deal blew up, bad press. And he still put the faith in me. And Manish, that's what I was saying. It's call it blessing, call it luck, call it the trust of the people who you work with. And more often than not, I have not delivered on things that I thought would get done to Don, and he stuck with me, and I love him for that. Now
And
moving on from
the question.
Moving on from the sentimental stuff, the one quality that Don possesses that I wish that I had is I think I have good energy, but when I see Don, it's like I'm a baby. I remember Don talking about this experience during the election time, and he said they were going non-stop, right? And it was a brutal first election for them, both sort of mentally as well as on many regards. And he says, I went 4 days, and somebody asked me when was the last time you had a meal, and he said it was he realized then that it was 4 days ago. So when I first got to know Don, I think our energy levels were similar.
Okay.
We were similar in a lot of regards.
Right.
But then he just shot up to another level, which I just find I wish I could mimic 1/10 of 1/10 of that.
So
Well,
glad to hear
Kalpesh,
that.
as you've seen from the early, if you're low energy in the Trump family, it's probably a good way to get thrown out of the window of Trump Tower. So you got to be high energy. But
That is true.
I
That is true,
appreciate.
Mehta.
I thought he was going to say, since I saw the pictures of him promoting this, with the fishing, I thought it was going to be my fishing skills. So that's why I'm at my weekend cabin up in the mountains, and so I thought he was going to mimic my fishing skills. But we'll work on that as well.
As I
That
said,
is,
I've done some fractioning here and there, and I'm glad to do that. No,
my son's here watching somewhere, and I know we're going to get into fishing, but we're Don's in the process of moving to Florida, which is, by the way, the best fishing destination in the world. And Zoran, if you're listening, we're going there soon to fish. Although we don't hunt, don't look at the deer behind Don's head.
Yeah,
We don't. That's just mean. That's mean to kill animals.
So in fact, that was my
Yeah,
next
Daddy, I am
question.
human.
Okay.
Oh, look at this.
Mute.
No, get in there, buddy. How you doing?
That's great.
When are we
Okay,
going
question to
fishing?
both of you, and it's quite related, and it just happened to be here. What are some favorite non-work memories together? Are there some adventure memories or incidents you won't forget, or things you did which only boys do and get caught?
No comment. Well, listen, I think Kalpesh, I wasn't necessarily going to go into it, but yeah, Kalpesh certainly brought it up. The initial deal we looked at ended up being a little bit of a disaster. And I was, again, so much of what we've done in terms of real estate internationally was for reasons like that, right? We don't want to jump into a market that's unknown and say, hey, we're going to put 90 people here. Here's what we're going to do. This is what it is. We're going to start developing. You want to work with local knowledge, local expertise on the ground. And this one did definitely blow up in our face. And I think the reason the relationship continues to be strong was because the way Kalpesh handled that. And it was as awkward as it was, as crazy as it was, as much sort of information as I think we both sort of found out after the fact. He just handled it so honorably that it was like, okay, again, this is someone that I can put, my full trust in. And so, some of the road tours and the road shows that we've done in India have been interesting. The Indian press and all of that. I mean, we've had some fun and we've had some interesting times, all of which we laugh about in the end. But I mean, that was the big one, just because it was sort of awkward. He was elsewhere, could have handled it very differently, could have kept me in the dark, tried to cover up some of the nonsense rather than just being open and forthright. He was open and forthright, and that's why we have the relationship we do today.
Fantastic. In fact, I must tell you that even off camera, on camera, everybody likes to be good to each other, but even off camera, he's always told this about you. At least twice, this incident was repeated in front of me, where he said that he was so gracious and so giving at that point in time when it was all messed up. So fantastic. Thank you so much on that part. But I'm still at my question. What is that one incident which is non-work, which you both remember? Kalpesh, you can have a go at it if you want.
Well, I have to ask. I have to ask for approval, Don. Do we talk about the plane incidents or the Don Junior gives talks on Indian diplomatic ties incidents? Which one is which one is appropriate to talk about? I'll let you do. Neither.
It's your You can go with the diplomatic incidents. I think that's probably a little safer.
Okay, yeah, let's.
Before you do that, Kalpesh, ladies and gentlemen, so this proves it. It's a live show. There is no rehearsal, nothing out here. The two gentlemen talking about what.
Why would you even say that? Why would you have to justify yourself?
I'm just saying that here is the decision happening on which one. Okay, let's go.
This is actually a fun one. Don, no, like I can talk about it, right?
Go for it.
I go. So Don was going to speak at the ET Global Business Summit when he was in India last in 2018, and he was the keynote speaker right before the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister of India, and I had the dubious distinction of helping him with his speech, and and I could tell Don was very sort of into the. He wanted to make an impact because he was going before the Prime Minister. He was going after Reed Hastings of Netflix and all the big sort of corporate names. And we'd worked hard on this speech for 3 or 4 days. And then the U.S. media, as unfair, as fair and as balanced as they are, as we all know, right? There was an article in the Washington Post that said Donald Trump Jr. says he's in India on business, but he's going to give a talk on geopolitics. And that evening, I remember we were at a dinner at our friend and partner Atul's house in Pune, and Don all of a sudden disappeared. And there's a wall of Secret Service guys guarding him. And then he comes up from behind me after a half an hour saying, "We've got to go." I'm like, "What happened?" I just got a call from powers that be in Washington, and we got to go. I can't do the speech. And we went back and we called the lawyers, and we were like, what is the issue with the speech? The first line of the speech was, I'm grateful to be here, and I want to thank Prime Minister Modi for the amazing job he's done. And they're like, "This is a problem." And I said, Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan was here. He would say this as the first line, and he's like, "Well, Jamie Dimon is not the son of the President of the United States of America, so he can't thank the Prime Minister." And it
wasn't that there was anything wrong with anything you're saying.
There was nothing wrong with
the speech. If you're an international business guy building, geopolitics comes into it. But then the State Department says this because they're worried about the press saying that he's trying to influence relations by being cordial. It was really ridiculous, but it sort of shows you what happens. There seems to be other people in the world that can go do all sorts of international business while their parents are in office, and they're rewarded, not penalized. But yeah, this speech and I don't speak like that generally. I'm even big stuff. I'm 99.9% off the cuff, and so because of this, we were so careful and cognizant of it going in, and it still wasn't far enough that finally, the whole thing just sort of blew up. We made it into a Q&A. I said what I wanted anyway, and it worked out well. But it was a tense couple of hours of a sleepless night.
All I can say is perks of having a famous second name.
I guess.
Yes, happens. I can talk all your morning and my evening here in Kalpesh, and I'm sure we'll all have fun, but we will run out of time, and I do know that we've taken very little of your time. So I'm going to ask just two quick questions, John, and then let you go. The first question, and that's a little hard one to choose, but I'm sure you will do justice to it. If you can have Kalpesh only as a business associate or only as a friend, what will you choose and why?
Listen, friendship means more to me than money, so I would do it that way. I think we'll have a long business relationship since we're not actually dealing in a sort of a binary world. I guess I get to have the advantage of both, but for me, friendship always means more than money. And so even if we could have a very lucrative future together, the friendship always comes first.
Fantastic. I think you won a lot of hearts suddenly here in India, saying that we are all suckers for this one, for sure. Okay, parting shot. Now we're looking for news. So apart from the brand Trump Towers, and I believe that Trump Villas are on the anvil, are you looking at launching any other brand in India? And when are you planning to come in next to be with us?
Well, listen, I think once things normalize, I've been bullish on the market for a long time. I'm the reason we have, why India is sort of our largest outside of the U.S. presence in terms of, our brand and in real estate. And so, 100%, Kalpesh has, led that charge with us. It's been phenomenal when things, again, normalize. Because again, if I don't caveat that, the press will say, "Oh my God, he's such a terrible human being. He was talking about business during the midst of a pandemic." So I have to caveat that and make sure that's known. I think one of the other funny stories, this one's perhaps a little bit business, was I did an interview in India when we were there the last time before that speech,
Right.
and I had done this thing. And it was a great interview. It was live. I think it was the reporter from what was it, CNBC, Kalpesh?
Washington Post.
No. The one that I did in India, though.
CNBC. Manisha.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Manisha.
It was CNBC in India, and it was this wonderful interview. And I talked about sort of the difference of sort of investing and when we were looking at deals in China prior to politics in India, and I compared them. I said, despite sort of some of the poverty in India that's obviously, apparent in the big cities and shit. I said, there's a spirit amongst the people that's truly incredible. I mean, even some of the most destitute people, in the world, there's an energy and a spirit there that I truly believe that. And she totally got it. And everyone in India totally got it. And then it got to the US, and it was the Washington Post, the New York. He's mocking, the destitute. I forget the headline that they were.
Donald Trump Jr. says he likes the poor in India because they smile. That was the headline.
Yeah, it was something totally disgusting. And I mean, it was so bad what they did to it. It was so terrible. Like Kalpesh and I were like, we have no idea what to do. It was, in the words of my father, it was the perfect interview, right? I have no idea how someone could manipulate it so badly. It was so bad that we actually, by coincidence, had a dinner the next night. That after the sort of, you had the Indian press day, the American press did their thing with it, manipulation to the fullest extent. We actually saw the reporter the third night at a dinner, and she comes up to me, she goes, you know what? I've heard you guys talking about fake news for a long time, and I never believed it until I saw what I just witnessed. And so this was a person from, CNBC, I'd say, corporate, certainly not a conservative, Republican outlet by any means. And she came up and recognized how ridiculous, what they did to those comments. She's like, you know what? I thought it was a lot of pomposity and a lot of. She's like, what I saw, like, you're actually 100% right. That was just truly disgusting. And it was nice to see someone actually be honest and objective about it.
So Don, I was on this platform, I was looking for some big news to happen in terms of what next for Trump here. But I guess we'll have to wait, is it?
Well,
Yes.
listen, there's an evolution for all those things. And like I said, there's some disruption going on. Obviously, Kalpesh and I are talking, but I don't think we want to give anyone else our ideas just yet.
Fantastic. No
Great
problem.
answer, Don.
And Don, I must thank you on behalf of all the viewers, on behalf of Kalpesh, myself, that you came in here at a very odd time when you were, in fact, vacationing. And I'm really glad that you could spend some time with us. Thank you from Clay Dialogues.
Thank you, guys. It's my pleasure. And Kalpesh, it's my pleasure. And
Thank you,
we'll
Don.
look forward to seeing you guys in person again soon.
Brother.
Thank you.
Take
We
care.
continue with
Thanks a lot.
Kalpesh to the next round, which is all about You Talk. Kalpesh, questions?
Yes.
For you. And thank you so much for having requested Don to come on the show on our behalf.
Thank him more than anything else for agreeing to come on it. And
Absolutely.
anyway,
Okay.
he's a great guy. Anyways, carry on, please.
Okay, we carry on with You Talk. Kalpesh, a lot less is known about you as a leading investor. Managing a portfolio of about 400 odd million. Am I right? 400 odd million that you were managing at that point in time in layman's?
Yes. A long time ago, correct? Yeah.
Now being a leading real estate developer. So, what made the change? What was the prerequisite? Was it a prerequisite like when you wanted to get married in, to a Godrej daughter that you have to be one of the industries? Then only you realize.
No. So listen, you have to understand. I'm Guju. So entrepreneurship is in my blood, and Danda is always in my blood, and that's something I always wanted to do. And I always knew at a very early age that I'd be doing something of my own. Lehman went under. I tried a couple of things, and like I said at the very beginning, the entrepreneurship bug bit me, and that's how I just you can't ever time these things. So yeah.
So, but why real estate in particular? It could have been anything. Entrepreneurship comes in anything, right?
Manish, you very poor memory. I'm a one-trick pony. Okay, I'm a real estate guy. My prior career was all in real estate. Albeit real estate finance. And again, you have very poor memory because and you know this. I grew up in a family of architects. I grew up on construction sites. It's just something that I always knew. Design, product, building lovely buildings and spaces is always something that tickled me. So it was the most natural thing for me to do. I mean, I can't imagine
by
myself
defense,
doing
not poor memory. It's just an excavation technique.
an excavation technique. Okay.
Okay, let's go on. I get that. Okay, Kalpesh, a little interesting a question. My team was doing a research, and they found this interesting thing. Your marriage, I believe a tailor from Colaba was called the most famous for his skills among the Sobo set. and he was commissioned to stitch 30 identical suits.
Fake news. Fake news. It wasn't me. It was somebody else. Fake news. Same marriage, different guy. I'm very sure. I'm straight. I'm straightforward about this. Fake news. There was somebody else who'd done that, who'd commissioned the 30 suits. It wasn't me. Yeah, fake news.
So there was some other Kalpesh and some other Mehta.
No. It was somebody else. I forget the name of who it was. It was the same wedding. And it wasn't me. And by the way, the allegation wasn't that it was 30 suits for the same guy. It was 30 suits for 30 different people. But it wasn't me.
Okay, brilliant. So team and everybody else, fake news alert out there. So here is somebody vehemently denying it. So it must be true. Okay, Kalpesh, you're just 42 and I'm giving you your age here. Now imagine there are 25 hours in a day for the rest of your life. That one extra hour, what are you going to do of it? What will you spend doing?
No questions. My kids. Spend more time with my kids.
Okay. Well, will be very, very happy. It will be very happy hearing that.
And I hope they don't unmute themselves, but yes, no questions.
Okay. We just went to the future. Let's go back. What is something you wish somebody had told you during your career journey, which you discovered all by yourself and by committing probably mistakes that you wish somebody would have told you earlier?
Don't get into real estate development until you have two of the three: land, capital, or a big brand. I wish I'd known that earlier. I would not have ventured down the path that I did. It was a stupid decision, which thankfully worked out. But that's another sort of path altogether. But just look, it's this, being an entrepreneur is this balance, right? I've always said that, a lot about being an entrepreneur is having this ethereal quality, which says, I'm going to make it no matter what the odds, and no matter, no matter how many times you're knocked down, and no matter how stupid people think your ideas are, but there's also a balance to be sort of had, and not sort of give, years and years of your life without sort of being aware constantly of what it is that you're working towards, and what your strengths are. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but
it does. It does quite a bit. I'll move on quickly, and given the time that we have, I have lots of questions to ask. I believe I'll have to send you later those questions and probably post them on the Facebook page later. But quickly, we know that fishing is your hobby. We created a promotion on that. But besides that, what do you like to do on a lazy Sunday?
Just spending time. Look, my kids are young, so it's just literally every spare second I have, I'd want to spend it with them. When I get enough time with them, which means when I get a little fed up with them, then I'd like watching like movies and TV shows and stuff.
Okay.
Which is relaxing.
Got it. Okay, I'm going to switch back to your a little bit of your work. Kalpesh, are you a detailing guy? Are you an overall person? I mean, are you a tough boss to deal with? What are you?
I think most people say I am a tough boss to deal with, because one of my sort of great struggles and learning has been, I started my career as a banker on Wall Street, and that was all about detailing. And I left that too early, and that kind of stayed with me. And so yes, by nature, by DNA, I'm a detailing guy. But one of my sort of constant goals and evolution is to trust people more and move away from detailing to more big picture.
Yes, we do know of that firsthand.
Yes,
I agree. Okay, so here we have a video from somebody who works with you. Let's have a look.
I worked with Kalpesh quite closely for about 6 years, and he's quite a free will person. He's quite fun loving and energetic. He's quite a detailed oriented person. He likes to get into depth of everything that you're discussing, and because of that, I feel some people might think he's a little tough to work with because he's a perfectionist. But I feel if you know your subject, then he's the most easy person to work with. He allows you for total, experimentation, gives you total free hand, gives you total liberty to, do your own things in your own style. And I think that has led to a lot of innovation in Tribeca. He's also quite technologically oriented person who wants to bring in a lot of tech into real estate, and I think that's what has allowed Tribeca to spread its wings pan India. Unlike other typical real estate firms, which are more regional in nature, he's quite democratic and is quite system and data driven person who wants to bring in that approach into the organization. Unlike typical real estate promoters who would want to do their own mind. I think that's coming from his work experience and education abroad. This thing, and I think he's quite an architect and a designer by himself.
Here's another architect talking for one. Kalpesh, any quick views?
You know that Kuldeep is my MVP, is my most valuable, most favorite person, and he's a design guy, so we get along really well. So obviously he's going to be kind to me. He should have picked somebody different who would have said more harsh things about me, Manish.
Actually, we did, but then we didn't want to play those videos. No, just joking for clarification. Okay, let's get on. Kalpesh, coming back to you and your talents, and we're going to explore some of them as we go along. But if you were left to not be a real estate guy, will you still be an architect? Will you still be a design guy? Will you still be what will you be?
Yeah. So I see myself as sort of a design guy and a deal guy. Mm-hmm. And that combines, into real estate nicely. And if real estate were to fall away, then, and if I were to sort of, you can only be what you are at core. So I pick design over deal any day. It's more fun.
Okay, Kalpesh, I have a jar questions to ask you, but I'm going to move on to the next question.
Please, sure.
And that's the friends and family set. A very important one because we want to know more of who you are as a person when it comes to family and friends. So the first question that I have is a very, very simple one, and it's here. With your life now spread around so many cities, I mean, you're in Delhi, you're in Mumbai, you're in Pune, you're often in other cities. How do you manage home and work together? Do you get enough time?
It's never, it's not easy striking a balance. I don't for a second claim to have cracked the code. It's a constant effort to get there. Look, it's, somebody said, pick 3 out of work, sleep, health, family, and friends. And you can only do 3 out of 5. And it's a constant struggle balancing it all. I don't, like I said, I haven't cracked it. I just rely on an incredible, team, both at Tribeca and with our partners to sort of help out on a lot of the stuff so that I can stay out of it. But it's not easy. It's a simple answer, and I try my best every day. That's all. I'm not perfect.
I get that. And now the show is moving to one section which is almost like Rajat Sharma. So we have an ilzam on you, which we need to ratify, if that's correct.
Okay.
So the ilzam is all your friends, all your family that you could choose are influential people. Your friends that we see all around in pictures, your family that we see in pictures that you've chosen, they're all influential people. Now, is that a strategy or is that a strategy?
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, Manish. Let me answer that question by asking you.
I know what is coming up. I know what.
Hang on. 2 questions to answer your question.
Yes.
Are you my friend? And are you famous and influential?
I don't know whether I'm famous or influential, but I'm glad to hear that you call me your friend. So that's good enough for me.
Come on. You don't, a lot of times you don't pick, your friends and, you cross paths and stuff. Anyway, a rubbish question. And I've answered it adequately, I think.
Okay, done. I'll let you rubbish it. Okay. Let's now move on to, how did you meet your wife, Nisa? Nisa is what you call her, right?
Yes.
And what's the story before and since then? tell us some chatpata kissa.
Chapataka stuff. No chapata. I mean, there is some chapata, but whatever. No, I won't go there. We lived in the same building in Bombay, and we went to similar set of schools, and friends introduced us, and that was that. And it's been many years, and we have 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
I said many, which means I forgot how many years it's been.
Nice. Okay. So, in other houses like ours, lesser mortals, Kalpesh, we fight on simple things like whose family is smarter, who have the kids taken on, etc. In your cases, where you come from Wharton and she comes from Harvard, I mean, so do you guys like fight on your business schools?
No, it's very
Fight
simple. I come from Wharton, but she comes from Wharton plus Harvard, so there's no fight. She's smarter than me. Actually, in reality, and also on if I were to have an argument otherwise, I would concede that.
Kalpesh, you're a smart husband for sure.
Yes. Don't all husbands have to be smart if they want to smile more?
Yes. Okay. One question, which again comes to mind, for everybody in the team and me. So, when you met your father-in-law, the great Mr. Godrej, for the first time or for the first few times, did you get intimidated, or was it not like that, or how was it? I mean, what's the truth? Or were you the brave boy?
I'd be lying if I wasn't intimidated. I mean, like, obviously, you're meeting like a captain of an industry, somebody who's achieved more in one lifetime than you can, hope to, or dream to achieve. So of course I was intimidated, and it's just to my great and pleasant surprise, he's not an intimidating personality, and let's just say my fears were unfounded. I was appreciative of who I was versus what I had achieved.
Okay, Kalpesh, people who don't know both of us and how we joke with each other are thinking that you actually got angry when my asking that question and you said ridiculous. Maybe that's the rumor you want to let go.
Which ridiculous question?
The question of influential friends.
Influential friends.
I'm getting messages.
So people who don't know me and don't know Manish, they have to know that I love Manish, and I think he loves me back. And this is how we talk. And I use superlatives. So no, the question was ridiculous, but it doesn't mean that there is any animosity between us.
Just clarified, folks.
Yes.
Okay. The next question. So, Kalpesh, when you were growing up years, were you a good boy, or were you a bad boy, or were you a bully, or were you a bullied, or how was it?
Oh, I was the worst. I was probably a pretty bad kid. I had ADD growing up, attention deficit disorder. I was a very smart kid. I did very well in school. Always sort of in the top, sort of first top 10, top 5, and then I sort of topped my school. But I was also sort of in that group of kids whose parents were getting called to school very frequently for disobedient behavior. So I was kind of in that category. And my mom was quite fed up, I think, of running around and trying to get me to behave.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll hear it all firsthand from somebody you love and somebody whose video we have here. Can we play the video, please?
Hello everyone. I'm sure by now you guys have heard great things about Kalpesh. Let me balance it out a little bit, like any younger brother should. Kalpesh has always expected great things and great things from people around him. And he's not shy of pushing people around to get that. When we were students in the US, we would travel a lot and he would stay in motels frequently. Knowing fully well that every room is the same, he would still ask for an upgrade every single time. Another great example, when he was about 15, we went for this really hard trek to Gangotri. This is 27 years ago. There was no infrastructure. There was one path leading up to that spot. After a long day of trek, we get to the one house in the valley. Now, all of us are pretty beat up. Kalpesh especially so. He had a headache. He couldn't sleep properly in the night. I remember this so clearly. In the middle of the night, he wakes all of us up. We storm into the hotel owner's room. He wakes him up and demands that he sends a helicopter. The owner fell on the floor laughing, saying, Okay, boss, I have never seen a car in my life. What are you asking about a helicopter? That's Kalpesh for you. But thanks to him, we've always had the best seat in the house. Thank you, and back to you.
Comments, please. And yes, the two brilliant
Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. Although it's a constant struggle to try and be more reasonable.
Okay, so here are Edu and
Sorry,
here
I
is
couldn't.
Zoran.
I couldn't hold them off anymore.
No, that's on my invite, ladies and gentlemen. We have Kalpesh juniors out here on my invite very, very clearly. And they're here because when we move on, we want to talk about very, very simple structure. So, Kalpesh, I've seen this even while in meetings, if you get a call from Zoran or Edu, you definitely take it and then tell them that you're going to call them back. Question number one. That's a fantastic practice. Did you manage it right from the beginning or did you learn? Second, do you actually call them back? Did you get the question?
Chachu, I got the question. Sorry, I was being distracted by my kids. I think the calling back I get it right about 60% of the time. But I don't know if you asked the question about spending time with them, and I think I get 90 on 100 on that because I do spend a lot of time with them.
Zoran, is that correct about your dad? Does he call you back when you call him?
I don't know. Sometimes he does.
Sometimes he does.
60.
Well, I have seen him talking to you, whether it's a meeting or whatever. But that's fantastic. Okay, Zoran, what's that one thing that you love doing with your dad?
That's easy.
There are actually two things, not one.
Not one. Okay, tell me some of them.
So the first thing is that in the morning, I wake up, then I wait for an hour or two, and then he wakes up after a long time, and then we start chatting for a much longer time than I have to wait for him to wake up. And number two is I love going fishing with him.
Number two, you love fishing. Okay.
Yes, I know the fishing. The weekend fishing. Sometimes he does not live up to that one, right? Sometimes.
Do I never live up to fishing? I always live up to
Exactly.
fishing.
Sometimes.
Do I never take you fishing, which when I can? I always do.
You can't intimidate him. Zoran, don't worry, you have our custody.
Sometimes I don't. Okay.
Okay, Edu, one question. Edu, a question to you. So, is Mama better favorite or is Dada better favorite?
Okay. No.
What?
Both.
Both diplomatic kids.
She's learning the ropes very well, the corporate ropes absolutely well. The junior Kalpesh Mehta. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to now request, ladies and gentlemen, I know of a fantastic thing the father and son duo do, and I want them to do it for us today before we move on to the next section. And Kalpesh, can we have that? Zoran, are you ready?
Run.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Today we are going to be performing one of our favorite raps. The name is Alexander Hamilton.
Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. How does the bastard orphan son of a and a Scotsman drop in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean by providence and impoverished by squalor, grow up to be a hero and a scholar?
The $10 founding father without a father got a lot farther by working a lot harder, by being a lot smarter, by being a self-starter by 14. They placed him in charge of a trading charter.
And every day while slaves were being slaughtered and carted away across the waves, he struggled and kept his guard up. Inside, he was longing for something to be a part of. The brother was ready to beg, steal, borrow, or barter.
Then a hurricane came and devastation reigned. The man succeeded dripping down the drain, put a pencil to his temple, connected to his brain, and wrote his full refrain, test him to his pain.
And the word got around. They said, this kid is insane, man. Took a book collection just to send him to the mainland. Get your education. Don't forget from whence you came. And the world's gonna know your name. What's your name, man?
Alexander Hamilton. My name is Alexander Hamilton. There's a million things I haven't done.
Just you wait. Just you wait.
The Tribeca rappers, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh God.
young and the not so young. Fantastic. Thank you so much,
Okay.
both of you, for having come and been a part. Thank you so much, Edu. Thank you so much, Raj.
Is there
We'll
more?
see you later. Okay.
Can I watch a video?
Yeah, go. You can watch video.
Thank you. That was really lovely. And this is the first time we have, the kids coming on, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And Kalpesh, I know how important they are to you. Everybody's kids are important to them, but I do know how much attention you pay on them. So it's a part of your personality. Absolutely out there. Okay, we will move on to the next round quickly, which is the open house.
Bye, Daddy.
Kind of go very, very fast on this. Farhan and Rishi, can we
Can
have
someone please
start
mute
for the two-
Zoran? Yeah.
sorry?
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Two
Go
quick
ahead. Go ahead.
audience
Go ahead. My
questions,
bad.
please.
Yes, there are a lot of questions that are there coming in for you, Kalpesh. There are a lot of excited audience here. But there are a few which are personal, and there are a few which are, clearly trying to understand how you got into business and stuff like that. But I think I'll start with the one which is personal. What is the most mischievous thing you've done as a kid? This is asked by Shakun.
There's so many, and most of them I can't name. And most of them would be very, very mean. You get me into trouble. We used to, like I said, I was part of the bad sort of the bad kids club, the naughty kids club. We used to give help to our teachers. We used to give help to other students. Not necessarily things that I'm proud of right now. Shakun, you'll have to ask me this one-on-one separately. I don't have a politically correct answer right now.
I'm sure there'll be enough reasons to and enough mockers too. Let's move on to the second one, please, quickly.
Sure. Okay. Basically, there's a guy called Mr. Jayesh Bhadra from Pune who would like to ask Hugh, looking at the current scenario, is it pre-leased or REIT the best bet for an investor, according to you?
That's a good question. I don't think I'm the best person to answer it.
Maybe your view.
Pre-leased or REIT. I would look. I would go with the REIT just because you have the diversification. You've got a lot of the other stuff. Sorry, can I take a quick pause because my daughter is just nicely interested.
We'll just mute it. Don't worry. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, I think Farhan will move on quickly to the last section. I think we are really running bad on time.
Yes, sure.
Okay. Okay, so we move on to the rapid cross-positions. Kalpesh, quick questions, no time to think, no time to be diplomatic, and absolute very answers are.
We'll have to take one. We can, although we'll have to take one iPad out of commission because it was my daughter's iPad and she just.
That's all right. That's fine. We'll live with what we have right now. It's interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. These are the challenges I deal with.
And quick answers. There's no time now, literally and figuratively. Your favorite Trump Tower in India?
Oh, Trump Tower's Delhi NCR.
NCR, fantastic.
Gurgaon.
The most famous rumor about you?
I don't think there are too many rumors about me.
We discovered a
I don't know.
one, but okay. Are you an early bird or a night owl, or are you both?
Oh, night owl.
Night owl. Okay. Yeah, that we heard from Duran. Your poison?
Yes.
What's your poison?
My poison, bourbon.
Nobody. Okay, got it. Your favorite hue, is it with the beard or is it without the beard?
Without the beard when I lose some weight, right now with the beard.
Okay, nice. The mistake you would love to repeat?
Starting Tribeca.
Okay, good one there. Marketing or sales, what charms you more? What charms you really more here?
Marketing, any day.
Yes, I knew
Sales
that
is
one.
close number 2. Yeah.
Okay, texting
Yes.
or talking?
Texting.
Okay, your 3 a.m. friend?
My 3 a.m. friend. I have a couple. I wouldn't name them here.
Sorry?
Out of privacy. I have a few, but I won't name them here out of privacy
Okay.
concerns.
Okay, you just don't get a coffee hamper from me, but that's all right, allowed. 3 things you'll never travel without.
Well, I forget a lot. I will never travel without my eye mask,
Uh-huh.
my travel kit, and deodorant.
Okay. Merc, Beamer, or Audi? I think I know the
I'm not a
answer.
big car guy. I'm not a big car guy. I have a Mark, so let's just say Mark.
You're a small car guy? I can give you small cars.
No, I'm not. I'm not a car guy at all.
So no favorites, is it?
No, I mean I have a Mark, so I would just say Mark, I guess.
Okay, speed or accuracy?
By the way, I haven't driven a car in 15 years. I don't know if you know that. I haven't sat behind the wheel of a car in 15 years. I don't even have a license.
The opposite. I love driving my car myself.
Absolutely.
Speed
Yes.
or accuracy, Kalpesh? Choose one.
It used to be accuracy. Now it's more speed.
Okay. Big question there coming up. Your favorite marketing agency? You know, the name begins, name begins with A.
Manish ji.
Okay.
Manish ji, it's an easy one. Alchemist.
Adventure or lazy holiday?
Adventure. Although I take more lazy holidays, but I prefer adventure more.
Okay.
It's a contradiction. Yeah.
Right. If you had any superpower, what would it be?
I'm super scared of death, and so my superpower would be I'd like to live, very very long, because
all of us share it.
Not all, yeah. Life is beautiful, and I want more and more of it, and I'd like to live forever. Yeah.
Okay, the second last one: efforts or outcome? What charms you more?
Outcome.
Outcome. Okay. Remember, guys, working for Kalpesh, remember that. The last one for the day: superstition you secretly believe in.
It's going to come back and bite you in the ass. If you do something wrong, it's karma. Karma is a B.
Yeah.
The
okay, karma is a big.
Yeah.
Get it. Very much get it. Kalpesh. And that brings us to almost, not yet. So don't go away, guys. We have something very special to show you. But I'm getting very simple messages here saying, tell him here he's the best boss ever, and so on and so forth. And many other messages, I'm going to pass them on directly to you. But I think we're running terribly, terribly, terribly short of time, and we have to show you something more. So Kalpesh, a very, very, very warm hug and a thank you to you for having agreed to come on the show with your kids, which most people will not probably allow. That was very, very, very nice of you to have got Dawn here, to have got the various other people that we could get, taking your name, obviously. Kalpesh, it's a pleasure working with you, and it was a pleasure spending this an hour plus with you. We have something to show you, but before that,
let me just take the opportunity to just toot your horn, and I'm just thankful to have you in my life. And like I said, you came in the hedge, but you've now become an essential commodity in my life. And thank you for your friendship and for your support, and for today.
Thank you very much, all out there. And Kalpesh, I must tell you that I'm also thankful to the people who allow me to live the promises that I make to you. And this is the team, only some of it, which is involved in Clay Dialogues. Please let me thank this team. Can we have the slide on, please? I want to thank, and I want to, every day I'll talk, every time when we do Clay Dialogues, I'll talk about one person. Today's time is that of Rishi. Rishi works with us now for 3-4 years. He decided to go to another agency once and came back. He's home, his family. He's one of the most hardworking boys you can get at his age. Extremely, extremely dedicated, and he's the one who's carrying a lot of the show on his kind of weight. You get to see my face, but he's the one who's really carrying the weight. And besides that, Farhan, the executive producer of the show, Suyash, Mayur, Renuka, Joanne, Ranjit, Ameya, Ashwin, Ritesh, and of course Upasna, AD, Anandita, as we should call her, Mandar, Kalpesh, Shivam, Osaf, and Abhay. But before we go, Kalpesh.
Thank you, guys. Yes.
Thank you so much. You guys really make our day and make this show work. Before we go, Kalpesh, we want to show you a very simple video, a trip down the memory lane. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting and thanking Mr. Kalpesh Mehta, the founder at Tribeca, and a fantastic man and a great asset for the real estate industry. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week again. Thank you, Shabak Khair. Please take good care of yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Please take care of yourself.
Let's have the video on, please, and sign off. Host for this e-talk show besides being the managing director at Alchemist.
My pleasure, and you're a very persuasive person, Manish.
There are a lot of advantages of coming onto your show. My nickname is Mickey. मिकी से कुछ करना है और वो नहीं मान रहा है, the only person कुछ सुनेगा किसी की तो वो उनकी मम्मी.
Honestly, the biggest competition to Niranjan Hiranandani is Niranjan Hiranandani of today.
यारा तेरी यारी को मैंने तो खुदा माना.
Hello.
I can go on record that I love more jewelry than my wife does.
You don't even have to ask that stupid question. क्या बात कर रहा है? The wife is always right.
I just wrote my name on the answer paper, wrote the question itself as in the answer paper and gave it back.
रंग का ब्रश कहाँ से लेना, स्क्रू कहाँ से लेना, पेंट के कौन एजेंट्स थे, वो सब वॉकिंग करके सब my father had taught me at that.
There's some superpower up there which I'm just fooling around with. Why don't I just surrender? And when I said surrender, I just surrendered completely and totally, Manish.
Being spiritual, first myth that we need to bust is being spiritual is going away.
Thanks a lot for bringing so many of my friends and family and my wife speak about me.